皆様こんばんは。今週も始まりました。いやもうね、本当になんか毎週金曜日の夜もう11時完全にカルダノラジオタイムになってますね。もう聞いていただいている人の数が半端ないです。そしてあまりアーカイブの告知をしてなかったので、これアーカイブの告知をしてください。YouTube の方にカルダノラジオで検索していただきますとアーカイブあります。ぜひ見に来てください。アーカイブ全然誰も見に来てないっていうことを、気づいてなかったですね。まあ見に来てくれてるんですけど、その生のリスナーさんのね数がねもうとんでもなく、すごい人が来ていただいてるんで、やっぱねアーカイブ見ていただきたいなっていうところで思いました。さあ先週もねいろいろウォレットの話アレックスいっぱいしましたけども、ここでもう一度ね読んでみたいと思います。今週も楽しい話いっぱいしていきましょう。 Alex, thank you for joining for week 2. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me. Pleasure to be back.
Yeah, we had a great episode last week, and you were talking about the recap of the year 2025. So, I don't know, because I'm not like a developer like you are. So how much of talking I can do, like a catch ball with you, but feel free to ask me questions. And yeah.
Oh, no worries. I think the biggest milestones were not actually necessarily so much on the developer side, but on the value that we brought and on the vision that we developed for Vespr. So yeah, the 2025 year was insanely good for us, through many landscapes. We focused a lot more for the first time actually on getting to know better the community in person as well, rather than only online. As I was saying last week, we have been pretty much all along a very small team. We've never been more than 4 people, and that's by far the most we've been. Most of the time it's been 2 people.
Yeah.
So being a very small team, also having very limited budget, we pretty much decided that for the longest time Vespr will be about focusing all the resources and efforts into building, not as much into attending conferences and all that sort of stuff. But 2025 is the year when this changed, because we first of all started to be more successful in the space, and we started to get some revenue as well, which allowed us to look a bit more beyond just building, and also to put more into the efforts to get to know the community face to face and develop Vespr not only as a product but also as a brand. So this means that for the whole year we've been focusing a lot on attending different events that are about crypto and Cardano. As you're saying, even last week we met in Osaka. That's basically part of this same spree of attending events and getting basically for people to know us, not just as the Vespr Wallet, but also the people behind Vespr that have been putting all the effort into bringing this experience together. So it pretty much started with attending Consensus Hong Kong, where we gave a speech. So that was early January of 2025, and this turned out to be an insanely good thing for us, because what happened at this event, it was organized by Waffle Capital. It was a really last minute thing. We decided 1-2 weeks in advance that we're coming, when we're offered a speaking slot in the booth. But at the event we end up meeting with some of the other guests that came for the same thing to give a speech, and it was the people from the Draper University. And for people that are not aware, Draper University and other Draper entities are part of a big Draper ecosystem of venture capital funds. They are basically looking to invest into the ecosystem and to pretty much help companies develop not just the products but the business visions and to grow. This is something that's been lacking for a very long time in Cardano, and now it's starting to get a bit better. But yeah, this was my first interaction with the people from the Draper University. And what came out of this is that we found out that they're organizing an accelerator in San Francisco, like in the Silicon Valley, around the March. I believe it was around March that it starts for like around 6 weeks. And they told us that we should like basically give it a shot to apply, because they've seen our presentation as well, and they thought we could probably be a very good fit for what they're looking for. So we did this. We found afterwards that it was like a massive competition with a lot of projects that applied, but we've been lucky enough to be accepted into the accelerator. So yeah, like around the March timeline, both me and my co-founder Vlad, we went to Silicon Valley for 6 weeks. That was amongst many of the very like popular Cardano projects. So like to name a few, it was with fluid tokens like Michael and Raul. There was Sundial with Sheldon and Michael. Sorry for fluid tokens, Matteo, not Michael. My bad. But yeah, it was pretty much a lot of big companies, like big projects from Cardano, and we all had a shared goal of learning how to develop a sustainable business and learning how to raise capital so that you can expand, because in the end this is a very important skill for any, like, I guess, business owner, because no business can survive if you cannot find product market fit and somehow monetize, because in the end everyone as a consumer wants the best deal. It wants like the product eventually to ideally to charge nothing on anything, but as a matter of fact, like if the product charges nothing and it has no revenue, the product cannot survive and will just end up dying altogether. So for those 6 weeks, we got very close with many people from the ecosystem. We got to know them better. Like we formed a lot of partnerships, including with the people, for example, from Delta DeFi from Hong Kong. We got closer to socials from Japan as well through the same experience. But this ended up creating a very tight community for those builders where we help each other a lot. Like we can still communicate very regularly, and we exchange ideas and everything. So this was insanely beneficial, not for us individually, but for the ecosystem as a whole, because we started pulling together our resources and expertise so that we just push the ecosystem forward rather than only ourselves. So this was also a very formative experience, I think, not just for us, but for everyone involved, because it really forced us to think constantly and develop a vision for our product. I'd say that before this, it was a bit in the air, and I don't think this was the case only for Vespr, but for everyone. Like we're all going a bit with the flow, as in just trying to target the most urgent need, but not necessarily having a big, clear overall direction on what exactly is the target. And this works for some time, but over a longer period of time, it can become a bit more problematic, because if you just tackle the immediate challenges and you don't prioritize based on an overall vision, you can end up going into multiple directions at the same time, which will slow down the general progress. So this definitely helped us a lot refine the vision of where Vespr should be headed. It forced us to do more market research and to understand better our market position, how exactly we got here, what is our differentiating factor, and all of those sort of things. But yeah, we definitely had a very positive experience at this accelerator. So moving forward, we realized that we need to, increase even more like our networking, and to like focus more on those experiences of attending events, meeting people, meeting more projects, and creating more partnerships. So a lot of the year has been focused in this direction. It also made us pretty much realize that the very best next step for Vespr is to look at integrating the Bitcoin network as well. So this is the very big milestone that we're working on currently. We're looking at expanding into Bitcoin, and this is a decision that came out of this accelerator. We but yeah, like then the rest of the year, to be honest, has been quite a lot of a constant travel. Like we expanded the team because at the beginning of the year we're still 2 people. So like as the year went along, like we realized that it's becoming a bit much, so we need to slowly grow. So we went to 3 people, and then like now recently, just in December, like last year, we hired the 4th person. But yeah, like the whole vision of Vespr is slowly coming together, and we're starting to focus not just on being a Cardano wallet, but being a gateway to an alternative economy. So this is pretty much what the focus is. Bitcoin is an important next step because we have all of this potential of turning Cardano into a Bitcoin DeFi layer. There's quite a lot of projects that are working on this. I think it was brought up even in Japan quite a few times, like when we met, because like more projects from them are actually from there were working on a similar direction, and we are already partnered up with quite a lot of those. We're trying to make sure from our side that the flow end to end is smooth, because in the end, like one of our big expertise is the user experience. So like we partnered up with all of those projects to make sure that when everything comes together from all the elements, like it will flow in smoothly so that the users can have a pleasant experience. I think quite often that's an issue with how complex projects are being developed, not just around Cardano, but in general. Like there's multiple, let's say, companies or projects working on different elements, but there's no one overseeing the big picture on how they integrate. So, you know, like if you work independently without taking this into consideration, at the end, when you have to integrate them, you realize there's a lot of limitations that are not considered, which usually just leads to poor user experience more than anything else. And we're working closely with the people to try and avoid this particular thing. I think we're also quite well positioned for this role, because as a wallet, we are the interface that people have with the blockchain technologies. So it's very important that we make sure to clarify from the user perspective how this needs to flow, so that those can be transcribed into technical documentation and the other projects can follow and understand exactly what they need to provide.
Looking at the wallet, I mean, if you guys bring in the Bitcoin DeFi layer and everything, that's going to be a whole game changer for you guys too. So that's one exciting things too. And like I talked about it a little bit last week, is when you use your wallet, I mean, like the swapping everything is so smooth, and like I said, it's simple. 1 + 1 is 2. You don't have the it's not like a cockpit of a pilot flying the flight. It's very simple. So it's really user friendly, I think.
That's a goal. That's what we're trying to. Well, not trying. That's what we're planning to do with the Bitcoin integration as well, which we're planning to launch a very first iteration on the integration at some point now, I guess, in the first quarter of 2026. So we're positive that this is gonna be just as good as the Cardano experience on Vespr Wallet. I do think that the current options that exist on the Bitcoin ecosystem are not as good as they can be. I believe that we can do a similar I guess, fit that we've done in Cardano, where we enter a saturated market and like slowly over time we end up capturing a majority share in it because there's the options there are just not as good as they need to be.
All right. And one last thing before I let you go for the episode 2. I forgot to ask you last week. The name Vespr from the Vespr Wallet, where did the name come from, or did you pick it, or how was the name chosen?
I didn't pick it myself. I believe the original idea came from a person that is no longer associated with Vespr. It was some early co-founder that is no longer with us. But the word itself is coming from an old English word, so the English word itself is also Vesper, but with an extra E, V-S-P-E-R. And it means like night, evening, dawn. And I think it encompasses quite a lot the aesthetics of the brand. It also, there's also another reference to it, which is in a James Bond movie. So there's a girl called Vesper, which, to be honest, I think that they kind of drew the same connotation from the English word, because the whole vibe and look of the actress is very similar to this vision again, like, you know, like dark hair and like a bit mysterious and like, you know, sleek, elegant kind of vibe.
Okay, thanks a lot. I wanted to ask you last week, but I totally forgot about it. So at least I was able to put it in the final minutes of the second week. And yeah, I think that was a wonderful recap. And I'm sorry I made you more like a monologue style like him, but I was listening and learning from you as it went. So I really had a great time. And people in Japan also listening to this would probably understand about it more, because Cardano market, it seems it's pretty big in Japan, because people say it started in Osaka with when it first started out initially, but still, not too many people are really involved outside the tech world. So, spreading new words about the great wallets I think it's always a great thing too. So, I am looking forward for Alex coming in next week again, and 2 more shows we got left, but I hope to have a great time with you again, and thanks for joining in.
Thank you. And I got to say that I was very excited to come to Japan. We had a great time, visiting both Osaka and Tokyo. And additionally, because we do value the Japanese market in general, we have translated the application over this last year. I guess I forgot to mention in Japanese as well, on top of other languages. So the whole application exists in Japanese. We also just launched, 1 month ago, I believe, multi-currency support. So the Japanese yen is also one of the supported currencies. We believe in making the whole experience very true to the person using it. So making the application in the language of the people and supporting their currency is a very important step to make sure that the application feels nice and comfortable to use for everyone.
Yeah. All right. Well, Japanese people would love that, and I hope a lot more people get hold of the Vespr Wallet. So I will talk to you next week again. So thanks for coming.
Thank you.
From Voltaire's voice to Treasury song, on-chain decisions.